What's going on, y'all? Apparently, Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson have been going back and forth for a while. They've been taking jabs at each other, and I think Andrew Wilson even offered a large sum of money, like hundreds of thousands, to make a debate happen between the two. And it happened. Let's check it out, man. We're going to be watching this video from Warren Smith. Okay, I'm not mad at it. I watched a few of their videos before, and I enjoyed it. I liked what I saw, man. It was great content. Let's see what's going down.
Andrew Wilson is playing a very specific game. Most people will not even see it. This has nothing to do with how I feel about either of these people. If you block out the noise and examine only the logic, suddenly you can see it in a different light.
Between 0 to 100, what is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
And then PBD turns to Candace, and this is the most important moment in the entire debate.
0%.
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
with what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
And that's the claim. She says there's a 0% chance. I mean, we're talking certainty here.
You're not even saying that he didn't even shoot Charlie Kirk.
Right. I would, if you said, was he involved that day? As I have consistently said on my platform, I would say, yes, he was. I don't know what role he played, but as the shooter, 0%.
If you're convinced there's a 0% chance, there must be some evidence of that beyond just, well, I think there's room for error.
Do you have any?
When it comes to this, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to pretend that I know everything, right? I would like to think that if you would make a claim like that, that there would be some evidence, though, in everything that you're saying. That's just my opinion.
Evidence for it.
For what? My percentage?
The fact that he didn't shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Yes. I
got excited. I was like, I'm going to learn something here because I want to figure this out. Based on the evidence she presents, I will change my mind.
We should go over the actual evidence that we feel.
The first reason that I think it's compelling evidence is that Tyler Robinson's rifle was found near the crime scene.
That would be an example of material evidence. We have something we can actually point to. Now, you can claim there's more to it, and that's what Candace does with DNA. This gets into a really interesting debacle.
You could have DNA on something that you've touched. You could have DNA on something that you've never touched. And to get DNA degradation, they've looked at pieces, items 20, 40 years on that don't have degradation.
Right here, she admits that items 20, 40 years on do not have degradation. Logically, therefore, degradation of DNA cannot be used to measure time. Therefore, we cannot determine whether or not Tyler Robinson was the last person to touch the gun based on your claim.
Yet Tyler Robinson's prints, amongst 5+ other prints, were the most degraded on that weapon.
Yeah, that doesn't actually give you any evidence in your corner for Tyler Robinson being a patsy.
Okay, there's more presence of somebody else's prints, and that could demonstrate that somebody is taking items from his house and putting it into various places.
But it also could demonstrate nothing.
Okay, I just described that for you, so I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, so I'm going to move on from that.
This reminds me when I'm trying to debate someone about trans ideology. They're trying to explain how a man can be a woman. This doesn't make sense. Can you explain it again? I can't understand it for you. I can only explain it to you. The science is very obvious, Warren. I don't know why people seem to think this is some gotcha.
The entire...
Yo, nah. Can't front. Yeah, if you're not going to go back and forth, is this really a debate? Like, you're just going to make your statement and not defend it or put out evidence or anything backing what you're saying? That's a little crazy. Yeah, that's wow. I'd be like, nah, that's the point of the debate. Expand on it. I'm waiting. We're listening. How you going to be like, yeah, nah, you don't understand, so it is what it is. Fam, like, I would say that if I tried to explain it like for an hour or something and the person's not receiving the information, then I might be like, okay, let's just move on.
Your basis for why you think that there's evidence for Tyler Robinson being the person that took the shot is based off of a hearing under Utah 1102 rules, meaning that they are doing the exact same thing that I am doing.
That's a big moment. If we can't listen to anything that could be categorized as hearsay, we can't listen to your claim that someone in the French government told you about an attempted assassination plot, because that would be hearsay.
And what that means essentially is the people who are making the statements can just say, Patrick told me that he did this on Monday. Patrick's not here. And that is, they can allow that into the hearing. The entire preliminary hearing was hearsay.
Yeah, I'm fine with your inferences.
No, you just literally said I couldn't do that. Yes, I can.
No, I didn't. I'm just saying from your inference, how do we get to Patsy?
This is how you got to Shooter.
This was not actually a debate. She's not trying to argue that her claim is stronger. She's simply trying to argue, hey, it's viable and it's okay for me to think. And I agree.
But the entire substance of your argument is that people can't infer off of evidence.
No,
that's what you're saying to me.
And somehow she spins this into Andrew saying people can't infer off of evidence, which is the opposite of what I thought he was saying. I thought he was asking you for the evidence that you're using to infer your conclusion.
I'm telling you, that was what the entire hearing allowed for. So the evidence that he is describing,
we're asking you
that
now.
he is using to argue his case is all based on inference, not fact.
What? The court claims they have text messages in which he confesses. Pointing to that is not an inference. It's a fact. The court claims to have that.
I'm asking.
Yeah, nah, that's facts. I don't know how it could be seen as anything other than that. So yeah, that's a little wild. That's crazy.
How you get to the inference that even if you dispute that piece of evidence, that means Patsy. I'm looking for the logical chain for how you get to that inference.
I didn't say it equals Patsy. I think it is enough evidence that it should be explored.
The claim was there's a 0% chance Tyler Robinson did this. This is not over whether or not you can explore this or that.
It is plausible that somebody just took his gun and put it there. That's it.
That's it? Then how are you getting to Patsy?
If there's 100 other plausible explanations then, Candace, why is it that we should go with this idea that it was a Patsy?
I'm not saying that we should go with the idea that it was a Patsy. I am saying that there is.
I thought that was the whole defense, your whole claim.
No,
today.
My whole claim was that there is more evidence that he is set up as a Patsy.
How does that equal evidence of Patsy?
I don't know how many times I can say this.
That's a valid question. And the response he continues to get is, I can't understand it for you, Andrew. I can only explain it to you. Explain what?
Whenever we're dealing with logic and we're dealing with making a logical inference, we're going to take the entire collaboration of evidence and then we're going to make inferences from that. You would do that with any type of logical proposition. Otherwise, you could never have a true or false claim.
But you just told me I couldn't.
So that never happened. You're just making stuff up.
That's not saying you can't make inferences. He's just saying your inference doesn't add up to Patsy. It doesn't make sense. That's all he's saying. He's not saying you can't think.
So I asked you how, with the inference you made, you got to the conclusion.
Okay. So I would like to know how you got to the conclusion. And I'm just going to throw it right back at you because for some reason you permit yourself to do it. And that's what I'm demonstrating is that you permit yourself to do it. Mm-hmm. And then you say, when I do it, it's a conspiracy.
But what about Andrew Wilson's inference does not make sense? Confession, gun found, DNA, security footage, inference. Which one of those doesn't make sense?
If you're asking for my inference, why I think it's Tyler Robinson's, because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say.
I would. I'm sorry. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
I'm paraphrasing, but it was pull that up.
Yeah, I think that's
by the way,
right.
Right there, she said, "Yeah, I don't think that's right."
It was me. Look at the pictures from the surveillance footage. It was me. Okay, I literally said to you, "It's not an oof." I said I didn't remember this, and I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay, I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I literally said I don't remember that.
Well, rewind. But whatever.
Okay.
So when we're talking about the messages themselves, they seem totally valid. I have no idea why they wouldn't be valid. And I have not heard any good explanation for why it is that these messages should even be questioned.
Parking aside the intuition of just something feels wrong here, which you should follow your intuition.
But it has to be tempered with logic, reason, explanatory power, and evidence, not just intuition.
That's why we're parking it aside. Intuition is the first step.
But we don't get to the second step. She just continues to talk about intuition.
Nobody came in medium, right? No one came in like there were some interesting aspects. This was a little suspect. But I do think it's enough to go to trial. They all came in like they were passing away and we're going to die from being overwhelmed.
Well, they're trusting their intuition.
Okay.
I guess we still haven't parked it. All right.
Parking that aside. Parking aside just your general intuition that sometimes might be sec messages.
What did she just say?
Parking aside just your general intuition that sometimes might be sec messages.
Parking aside just your general intuition that sometimes might be sec messages.
Could there be someone who logged into his Discord? Could there be someone who logged in to his Apple?
I mean, it's possible. Do we have any evidence?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of what Candace is running with is possibilities without actual evidence pointing towards that, and maybe even some coincidental circumstances, things along that line, to where it's like, dang, that's what you came with for this debate. That does not seem like I guess, valid proof that would get people to stop questioning you on why you're talking about certain things without certain information. I don't think anything was changed by this debate at all, just in my personal opinion.
It's indicating that?
George could be sending text messages right now. We are married. He has every login that I have. And remember, he's up for a death sentence.
So there's room for doubt. Andrew even says that himself. That's totally fine.
That discovery was not met by the time we got to preliminary hearing. So I remain unconvinced by these text messages. Just as you feel convinced by them, I feel unconvinced by them.
Okay.
Remaining unconvinced is different than saying there's a 0% chance he pulled the trigger. That's convinced. What convinced you?
We never get to the thing that I am disputing.
Well, I was just providing an answer. We were coming back in from a break.
It didn't look like she wanted to have a debate. She just needed to make it through this thing. And she's very good at that.
Here's the questions that I have.
Wait, before we get into that, I would like to just reply to that. Mm-hmm. So just to be clear, we agreed to debate our claims. And then I agreed publicly that I have no issues having a conversation with you about other things that I've discussed that were outside of the court hearing and things like other evidence that's come across our lap and things that we've been speaking about. But I just do want to make it clear to viewers that for whatever reason, you think that you have a right to sort of depose me.
I'm not deposing you. I just want to ask you some questions.
She's walking a tightrope here. She's not trying to argue that her claim is more viable than Andrew's.
Because you kept saying, I'm Joe Rogan. They have no evidence. They have no evidence. Mm-hmm. And now you're like, let's move away.
Wait, why would he not have a right to oppose you? Right? That sounded as if she was like kind of saying, how dare you ever give me criticism? I can critique, and not only critique, but without the actual facts or evidence. Right? Which, mind you, there's been a plethora of times where Candace has brought facts, and I thought that she's done excellent work, right? So I'm not trying to like dump on her or like hate her. But if you're allowed to speak on something, why is someone else not allowed to talk about your coverage? I don't really see the issue with that. That shouldn't really be a big deal, especially if it leads you to getting a big payday like this. You're talking close to $500,000 to sit here and talk. That's light work. I would love to get paid to debate somebody. What? So yeah, I don't really think it's what she presented it as right now.
Yeah, but just talk about transcendentals.
Yeah, okay. Anyway,
Candace makes a good argument that, hey, I'm just coming to my own conclusions. I'm just thinking independently.
So why are you so upset when people say they don't find it convincing?
If that was the limitation of the claims that you made, if it was just, wait a second, there's a little bit of problems. There's some problems in this case that I have questions for that I want answers to. Nobody'd have a problem, actually. At least of all me.
The people who have their minds made up will likely attack even me for saying this. And that's okay, though. What is the alternative? I'm not going to compromise on logic itself.
A lot of this conjecture that's based on literally nothing, that leads from no inferences whatsoever. Like you couldn't even infer it logically. That's the problem. The problem has never been whether or not you just said, you know, there's not enough in this case so far until we get to the trial. I remain unconvinced. I'm sure there's tons of people who remain unconvinced yet until we get to the trial. I think that's fine. I think it's fine. There's people who are convinced too. That's never been my problem. My problem is the claims which are external to that.
She got Andrew on the ropes in that one interaction, being able to recall the 7 counts, though it's not that relevant to who actually killed Charlie Kirk. That's the thing about facts and logic. It's either there or it isn't. You can attack the credibility. You can try and embarrass. It's like a truck driver can put forth logic. A professor can fail to put forth logic, but that was well played on her part. Beyond that, I'm not seeing much. How are you 100% sure that Tyler Robinson did not pull the trigger? And that's the claim.
When it comes to Andrew Wilson and Candace Owens, I'm indifferent, right? I don't hate either one of them. I'm not going to be biased for any particular side, right, per se. So I'm not going to sit here and go after one or the other for any reason. it did sound like Candace Owens was kind of like slipping on a few things, but it is what it is. She's entitled to or allowed to give her opinion. And so are other people allowed to give their opinions on her opinion. It is what it is. But I'm glad the debate happened. A lot of people will be able to watch it and come to some conclusion. I don't really think it made much of a difference, but that's my opinion. Tell me what yours is down in the comment section. Hit the like button and share the video as well. And if you want to catch me live streaming, go and watch me on Kick. For now.